Andrew Mack here from MMA Island. Today I'm with Lindsey Kelley for the second time. Lindsey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So before we start, my last interview with you is my second most popular interview, just under Mitch Raposo, who had like a year and a half head start on you. How's it feel to be so popular?
Wow, I didn't know that. That's really cool.
So you're fighting at RF Scrap 6 on Saturday. How are you feeling right now? We're a couple of days out.
I'm feeling really good. I think this fight camp went pretty well. I think the weight cut went pretty well. I'm ready to weigh in tomorrow. I'm ready to rehydrate and ready to kick some ass.
I see your hair's all done as well.
Yes, it is. Yep. Got it all
Nice.
done yesterday right before we left.
So since we last talked, you've had two fights. So let's go back to Cage Titans 57. So you had a pretty dominant performance, and just caught by a spinning back fist.
Mhm.
Looking back at that now, how are you reflecting on that?
I think the biggest thing is just, I mean, since that fight and since my most previous fight, I definitely felt a difference. There's just such a lack of experience as far as like I don't have a ton of Thai fights. I've done a couple of jiu-jitsu tournaments, but I mean, like my coach says, nothing can really prepare you for what it's like to be out in front of the lights and or out, in the lights in front of all the people. And, with time and experience, I know I'll feel more comfortable. And I think that showed in my last fight. And Cage Titans 57, I was very amped up. I was very, there was a lot of energy out back, a lot of nervous energy. And um, I think my inexperience kind of got to me in the second round, essentially. But I mean, win or lose, we always take something from the fight and try to better ourselves in the gym. And not only will we look at like, my fight, for instance, and try to take something from it, but Nate will apply that to everyone else, and we all get better from each other's losses, essentially.
And I saw Keegan post on Facebook that I'd rather have her dominate and get caught than be dominated and then get lucky. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agreed. I mean, I completely agree with him. It's I couldn't have said it better myself.
So as or right before they announced the result, we saw you like yelling off to the side or whatever. What was that?
I mean, I was pretty upset. I thought they stopped it kind of early. So I mean, I was fine. If you watch the whole video, I get up and I was fine. I was pretty pissed off, to be honest, because I mean, the ref called it as I was standing up. So I think I had a ton of people message me afterwards and say, they stopped it short. But I mean, at this point, it is what it is. I'm like well over it. But like I said, it's just something you kind of got to eat it and move on. I shouldn't have made the mistake in the first place, but it is what it is. And, maybe I'll get another shot at it. I know I'll be back at Cage Titans at some point very soon, but maybe I'll get another shot at her. Maybe not. If I mean, it just kind of, it is what it is. I got tons of other stuff I'm focusing on. So,
So your opponent with that spinning back fist, she has not been the most humble after that fight. So does that like piss you off, or like you want to get her, that rematch or anything?
like I said, it doesn't really bother me. I mean, everyone kind of knows that I was dominating that fight, so she can say what she wants, but like I said, I could not care less. I've got more important things to worry about.
So going from Cage Titans 57 to 58, what was the biggest change that you made between the two fights?
Um, I would say I think I really tried to focus on like I was training hard, obviously, but I really like trying to focus on the mental aspect of it and trying to go in, the way I refueled like after I weighed in was different. Um, like the mentality I had going into the fight was different. I was going into a fight where I had literally no idea what to expect from my opponent at that point. There was nothing on her. This was her first fight. So I it kind of eliminated any like overthinking for myself, which was kind of nice. And I went into it pretty open-minded, like basically being like, all right, wherever the fight goes, I'm ready for it. And that was kind of the mentality that I kept throughout the fight. And I think I did that pretty well. And I think I like really felt what it was like to click. Everything kind of flowed, everything slowed down, which was really nice. And I think I executed pretty much everything very well. And I walked away pretty unscathed, which is a blessing. So I'm excited to see how I do in my next fight, definitely, because I can use the confidence and what I learned from that one and try to apply it here, and all the stuff we've been working on the last 6 weeks at the gym and with the cardio and the conditioning and all that stuff. So I think it's going to be a really great night.
So I interviewed your teammate Julian Carrington last night, or no, last morning, and he said that even if knocks their opponent out in 15 seconds, that Nate will have something for you to improve on. What did he say after your last fight?
I mean, yeah, I mean, we were all kind of sitting down at cage work when Nate said that, and we were like, I forget who it was. I think it was Tyler who was like, "Oh, we should all win in the first 30 seconds, so that way, Nate doesn't have anything to say." And he was like, "Look, you could knock somebody out in the first 15 seconds, but I'll still find something to work on." And I think that's an important mentality to have. It's the whole idea where it's like good, better, best, never rest until your good is better and your better is best. It's like that mentality, except not as corny. It's pretty much just like it doesn't matter like how well you do, we're still going to find ways to improve and evolve and become better fighters overall. And like I said, every fight that we have exposes things, whether it's Julian, whether it's Ben, whether it's Mo, every fight that we have exposes things that we all need to work on as a gym. And I think it overall makes us a better gym.
So after the fight, I saw on Instagram that your opponent gave you like a backhand congratulations, saying like congratulations on the fight, but make sure you make weight. Did you have weight problems for that fight?
I did, yeah. The weight is something I've struggled with. I mean, it's hard to tell. Like nobody really knows what I'm putting myself through at the gym, and it's not for a lack of trying, that's for sure. Um, I've had some. I had a pretty rough weight cut the last two ones that I did, um, and it's something I'm figuring out. My metabolism is totally shot, and it's frustrating to put the work that I'm putting in and just not getting the results that you want. And it's super discouraging, super disheartening. And you know, it's it's all respect to my opponent because she could have easily said no, I don't want to fight her because she didn't make weight. But all respect to her for still going out there. Um, and again, it's one of the biggest things my coach and I have been talking about, and something I've been working on. And I'm seeing a nutritionist and everything. And I mean, women's bodies are just different, and my body has just been really struggling with the weight cuts I've been doing. So I'm trying to put myself in a better place. And I know after this one, I'm probably going to have a month or two off to try to, fix some things so that way the weight cuts aren't as drastic. That's for sure. But I mean, like I said, it's really not for a lack of trying, and it's not because of, I don't care. It's not that I'm trying to be disrespectful. That's for sure. I know I'm putting everything I got into it, and I'm giving everything I have to the point where like, almost passing out multiple times. Like, it's I'm definitely putting everything into it, and like I said, I'm young, I'm inexperienced, and it's a process that I have to figure out. Everyone's body's different, so it's just one of those things I'm trying to digest and move on essentially.
Is this weight cut going better than the last two?
Definitely, yeah, I think it is. I think I know right now I think I'm about a pound over right now, but tomorrow morning either that's going to be gone or I mean we don't weigh until 2 tomorrow, so I have plenty of time to get that pound off, so I'm not that worried about it. But I think this one definitely, as far as like the water weight cut part of it, definitely went a lot better. Um, I'm tired, and the good news is I have everything I need as far as rehydration goes. And we're also going to be able to get an IV afterwards, which is going to be pretty cool. It'll be cool to feel the difference of what like getting rehydrated that way feels like. So I'm just excited for tomorrow.
So your fight for RF Scrap was booked before your Cage Titans fight. What made you want to take two fights?
Um, yeah, this one's been in the works for a while. I think it's just different. I think it's because I mean the promotions are so different. So like Art of Scrap doesn't happen as consistently as Cage Titans. And so I remember Art of Scrap was messaging me before the Cage Titans fight. And I know Nate didn't want me to know about it, obviously, because he wanted me to focus on the first fight, but they wanted to release the poster because they have to do more advertising because, it's just a totally different environment out here. But I tried not to focus on it too much. I was excited, obviously, but I had Cage Titans that I was focusing on, and after that, that was when I was finally able to focus on Art of Scrap, and it's where my head's been ever since.
And on the same day that you got your ground pound TKO, your opponent also got a ground pound TKO nearly 1,000 miles away from the RF Scrap post. That's just like a cool storyline.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was pretty cool when they posted that.
So what was that like week after Cage Titans like debriefing this fight and then immediately preparing for this next fight?
Um, it was pretty good, like going back to the gym and everything. Like I took that week and I was still going to the gym, but I wasn't going super hard just to kind of decompress and let some of the tension release and, let my joints heal essentially. But it was pretty cool. I had a lot of people who were very, very happy for me, very proud of me. I have a lot of people in my corner that are supporting me and, they definitely were happy to see the win, that's for sure. And I was happy to get the win. Because, I've put so much into it. I know like what I'm capable of, and I felt like my first two fights weren't 100% accurate representations of, I mean, in ways they were, but just the finish was kind of, obviously I didn't want it to go the way that they did, um, but yeah, I think I think it really allowed me to focus in on this fight and wanting to go out there and perform the way that I did in my last fight. That's what I'm really focusing on.
So for your first two fights, there was like a couple teammates on the card. For your third fight, there was like a lot. Like we were making bets on how many times you would see Kiki in the media room, and that's six of you on this Art of Scrap card.
Hmm.
So how do you feel like coming to the events with just an army of people?
It's pretty cool, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. Everyone keeps asking, like, how many people are you here with? And we're like, we got six people fighting. And if Mo hadn't gotten hurt in his last fight, he'd be fighting here too. So we'd have seven people fighting. But it's really cool to have such an army with us. The support is definitely great, and like going through fight camps together, it's quite the bonding experience. You're all grind. I mean, we were all grinding for the last 6 weeks. You know what I mean? Like it's been we definitely have all been taking it very seriously and putting everything we have into it. That's for sure.
So have you been to an Art of Scrap event before?
I haven't. This is my first one.
So from what Julian was saying, it's a much like bigger atmosphere. The walkouts are longer. It's much more like dramatic. So are you mentally prepared for all that type of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't tried. I've done my best not to focus on it. I know we're probably gonna go there on Saturday morning and see what it's like and everything. And um, I'm trying not to let that stuff really get to me. I'm trying to focus on, it's just another Saturday at Evolution. I'm just with the boys, and we're gonna go to work, and that's kind of what I'm focusing on. I want to keep everything in the cage. I want to focus on what's going on inside the octagon and not what's going on outside of it. So that's what I'm trying to focus on. And honestly, I think it'll be kind of nice being like away from anybody that I might know. You know what I mean? Like Massachusetts is like, I mean, Plymouth is 2.5 hours away, but it's still kind of like home. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really necessarily feel uncomfortable going there, but this is like definitely a whole new experience, that's for sure.
So you said in your first interview with me and earlier that more experience equals more calmness. So have you felt that throughout your past couple fights and going into this fight?
Yeah, definitely. I think at this point I'm I'm starting to understand the process and get used to it. So I'm hoping that tomorrow I'll be settled in even before the fight happens. I know I felt really good on my last fight. Everything kind of like really clicked for me. Everything slowed down, which was really nice, and I'm hoping to feel the same way in this fight too. That's for sure.
So I know you don't like to think about your opponent much and you want to focus on yourself, but what do you know about your opponent, Kelsey Ivers, going into this fight?
Um, I know she has more experience than me in the cage. I don't remember what her record is, but I know she has more experience.
3-2.
Yep. So I don't know. I really don't know much. I remember when I found out that I would be fighting, well, when I had a hint that I might be fighting at Indiana, I remember looking at Art of Scrap Instagram and I remember seeing one of her fights and I'm being like, oh, like they kind of look like they'd be my size. I wonder if I'm gonna end up fighting one of them. And I watched it and I remember I think literally like a week later they released a poster and I was like, oh, yep, that's exactly who I was fighting. That's pretty much what I was assuming. And I didn't really dive too deep in it. I don't know. To me, I feel like I do better when I don't know a lot about my opponent. So I like I said, I just try to focus on my training and my conditioning and being as prepared as I possibly can be and going out there and being ready to to go wherever the fight takes us, whether it's standing up or on the ground or anything in between.
So what should people expect from this fight?
I think it's gonna be a great fight. I think it's gonna be fireworks, honestly. I think we're both gonna be I think she's a good striker. I think I'm a good striker. I think there's going to be a lot of, I think it's going to be very eventful. I think it's going to be interesting. We're the only female fight in the card. So I'm excited to see how it goes. Very excited, that's for sure.
Speaking of which, so I was watching a women's fight camp last week, and one thing the coach said that really stuck to me was like, your opponent's not going to be strong as this guy. She was grappling some like 160 man or something. Does that, do you feel that in the case like your training partners are much stronger than your actual opponent because you're just going against like men and stuff like that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I try to remind myself that all the time because I do get frustrated in training sometimes. I have a hard time dealing with the guys every once in a while. Keegan can be pretty tough. But I try to always remind myself that like if I can handle this, I can handle anybody in the cage. If I can handle Nate driving his knee into my throat, I can handle any person in the any girl in the cage. Nobody's gonna hit me. Nobody's gonna hit me harder than Keegan in the cage, that's for sure. So nobody's gonna double leg me as hard as Sean will. Like, you know what I mean? Like I try to keep everything in perspective, while also not underestimating my opponent as well. But I also try to use it as a confidence booster.
Yeah, I feel you there. I'm always the smallest person there. I was talking to Adina about this at her last fight, at her post-fight press conference. Like, we're always against people that are bigger than us, stronger than us. So when we actually go to competition, it's like, this is a breeze.
Yep, exactly. That's usually how it feels.
So on Table Titans, they're talking about how you don't have a nickname, and they suggested Bulldog Kelly. I forget what you said about it, but so what's your thought on that one?
Well, I actually have a nickname now. It's
Ooh, nice.
Buffy the Slayer.
What was it?
Buffy, like like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, except
Yep.
just Buffy the Slayer. Yeah, so Buffy, Buffy. That's what I'm going with.
Where'd that come from?
Actually, a coworker started calling me it last summer. She, as a joke, she started calling me it, and then she'd be like, "Hey, Buffy, come help me with the trash." Because like it's like one of those things where like I always end up being the muscle at work, and so anytime they need me to do lift something heavy, they're always like, "Hey, Buffy, come here." So then I was just like, you know what? I like that. I'm gonna stick with it. She's a badass blonde vampire slayer, so we're gonna run with it.
I was going to suggest Killer Eyes after like iconic Killer Eyes, but I love that as well. What are your thoughts on MMA judging? It's been a big controversy in the sport the past couple months.
On MMA judging, just like in general, as
Yeah,
far as like the like referees go,
referees judging, like the point system.
point system. I don't know. I guess I don't really have enough experience to like have a to pass judgment on it. I think that I don't know. I guess from that one fight that I had where I felt like they called it too early, I think the biggest thing was just like I think where a lot of my frustration came from, and I remember talking to one of the commissioners out back, was basically like I felt like they had called it too early. And so a lot of the announcers had said, oh, for a female amateur fight, they called it, they were okay calling it when they did. And to me, it's like, it shouldn't really matter if I'm a female or not. Like you would give guys more of an opportunity just because they're guys. Like that's kind of where I was just like, I don't know, that pissed me off just because, I'm there to fight. My opponent's there to fight. Just like every other guy is there to fight. It doesn't matter if we're a girl or a guy. It's one thing if I was getting like super pieced up and, she kept knocking me down or anything like that. But I was in the process of standing up. Like I didn't, obviously it takes you a second to get your bearing, but that's how it is with other guy fights as well. You watch some of the other guy fights from that night and, guys are getting knocked down and knocked down and knocked down and the refs still aren't calling anything. And it's like, if you really just called it just because, it's a women's fight, if you called it that soon for that reason, I don't know. It's pretty frustrating to deal with that, knowing that that could be the cause of a fight ending too soon just because we're women. But I mean, like I said, we're still out there to fight whether we're women or not. We're there to fight and we should be allowed to do so. Sorry, my words are like completely falling out of my mouth right now, but I think you get the idea.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's not like a basket weaving contest.
Yeah.
So, what are some of your short term and long term goals? Short term, under a year and a half. Long term, over a year and a half.
I would say I want a couple more fights under my belt. I definitely want to get my weight down to a manageable point where I'm walking around and I don't really have to do a huge weight cut. Because I think that's the hardest thing right now for me. And I would say, I don't know, I feel like that's probably a good short term and long term goal for me. Um, I'm probably going to just keep taking fights as I can as an amateur and see where it takes me. I think the results will speak for themselves as far as where I'm going. And, it's one of those things where I've dedicated so much of my time for this and I know I still have another year of school left, so I still have to think about that. And maybe during school I don't fight as much, and maybe I try to get more during the summer. But either way, I think the biggest thing is just honing in on the weight cuts and the dieting and all of that, because that's been an issue my whole life, to be perfectly honest. So, I think that's the biggest focus for the next year and a half, but also just improving, constantly getting better. I don't ever want to become complacent or satisfied with my performance. I want to always be improving. So.
So how far do you want to go with your martial arts career?
I'll take it as far as I can go. That's for sure. Without, too many detrimental like injuries. Because I still want to like be a human after this. Functioning human, I should say.
And a lot of people that I've talked to, they say they drop out of college for martial arts. You're still in college. You said you got a year left, right?
Hmm.
So how do you balance that stuff out? Because
I have no social life. I have literally zero social life. I pretty much, so it's weird because like some of my classes are still online, so it is kind of easier to keep a good schedule as far as like work goes. But I do work a lot and I train a lot, but I also have school. So like when I'm not when I'm not at school, I'm usually at the gym, and when I'm not at the gym, I'm at work. So I have very little free time, but I think it's good for me. I think my personality needs it. I think I need a really full schedule like that. Otherwise, I could be getting into other things that I shouldn't be getting into, but I think fighting really keeps me on a good path. And it keeps me motivated and keeps me disciplined and keeps my head in like a good place where it's supposed to be. And so I'm trying to focus on finishing school. I know the pandemic and me getting sick and a bunch of other things kind of affected it, but finishing school has been one of my goals. And I know my parents want to see me finish school. I think they'll feel a lot better about the fighting thing if I at least have a degree to fall back on. So
do you have any plans on what you want to use that degree for?
no idea. I want to be an author later in life, but other than that, I have absolutely no idea what I want to do with it. I think it's one of those things where I'm gonna figure it out in the next year. I'm gonna take more. I'm gonna like as a senior in college, you make more connections with your professors as far as like careers and like life after college, and they help you with that stuff. So I'm thinking I'm probably gonna get a better idea within the next year or so.
I hope so too, because I'm gonna be a senior and I have like no connections right now.
Yeah, that is the life.
So what's your favorite fight on this card besides yourself?
Let's see. I don't know. I'm probably looking forward to Sean's fight. Sean's fight is a title fight, which I think is sick. I mean, he's 18 years old and he's already got a title fight in a different
He's
state. So
18.
yeah, he's 18. That's why we call him man child.
Jesus Christ! I thought he was like 25 or
Yeah,
something.
I know. We joke about how I guess I probably shouldn't say this, but I mean, he's been going to the gym for a while since he was like, I don't know, 15 or 16. But we joke about how, yeah, his parents would slip steroids into his Cheerios. Obviously, it's a joke, but that's why we call him man child because he doesn't look like he's 18 at all. But yeah, I mean, being 18 years old and going for a title fight in a different state is pretty sick. So I'm excited to see how he does with that.
Yeah, Julian was telling me yesterday that when Sean first came to the gym, he was kicking Julian's ass. Then one of the coaches was like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, that kid's like 16."
Yep. Oh yeah, we all went through it. We all went through it.
What's your favorite food to get after a fight?
Oh God.
I know your favorite beverage is margaritas. You've said that. What's your favorite
Yes.
food?
Um, After the fight, I don't know. I'd have to say probably either Mexican or pizza because I love enchiladas and I love tacos. That's got to be my favorite thing in the whole world. But I love my favorite like combination of pizza, which there's a place in Portland called Cole's and they do like I think it's called like the Bee Sting or something like that, but it's pepperoni and hot honey. And it's just like every time after a fight, I have to go and get it the week of or like the week after. That's like my favorite thing. And like if a restaurant doesn't have something like that, usually what I'll do is I'll do pepperoni, jalapenos, and honey. And it's just, oh, it's my favorite combination. I love it.
You're gonna have to send me that restaurant because I'm gonna be up in Portland for Neff's. I'm looking for food.
Oh, hell yeah. No, definitely. I'll show you. I'll show you. I know all the good food spots in Portland, that's for sure.
All right, awesome. What do you for entertainment? What do you watch or do or besides that with what you've already told me, like writing and art and stuff?
Um, when I have time,
Yeah.
I guess I would say, I don't know, I rewatch a lot of movies, honestly. I like a lot of like I'm a big Hayao Miyazaki fan. Like
Nice.
Spirited Away. Like literally all of his movies I'm obsessed with. They're like like some of my favorite childhood movies. Um, let's see what else. I've rewatched The Vampire Diaries more times than I can count. I love like any sort of like murder mystery type movies or any sort of like dystopian society movies. I've seen The Hunger Games a bunch of times. Um, I like doing that, but I mean, like I said, for the most part, I spend so much time at the gym, and I haven't had like free time. Like I got my semester's finishing. I'm doing homework as I'm like trying to pass in the last of my stuff,
Me
while
too.
I'm also like, please bear with me. I'm very like my brain isn't working right now. But I after that, I'm gonna have more free time to do like actual things besides just gym and work and homework. So I don't know, maybe I'll start watching a new show. I like there's been a couple of shows that I've gotten into, like I don't know, this was an older one. This was like I think last year, The Watcher. I don't know if you ever heard of that. It was
Yep.
on Netflix. It was like based off a true story. And it was like really well done. It was directed by the same people who did the first season of American Horror Story. So it like gave very much like American Horror Story season one vibes, but it was really, really good. It's called The Watcher, but it's based off a true story. And that was like probably one of the best shows I've watched like recently, I would say. Um, the new Avatar movie, I have a lot of reserved feelings about it, but I have seen it like three times just because I love Avatar. But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess.
So you're at an Airbnb with your teammates, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So does that feel like the ultimate firehouse, like all of the people fighting in one place?
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. I mean, I used to travel for sports all the time when I was younger. So like staying in hotels and traveling for sports is it's nothing new to me, but it's definitely interesting doing it with the group of guys that I'm doing it with because they're all just such idiots. I love them to death, but I mean, it's always entertaining. Like there's always stuff going on, you know. The group of people that we're with, it's always a good time. It's a really fun time, that's for sure. And I'm sure once we're all rehydrated tomorrow, we're gonna be much more alive, that's for sure. But right now we're all just kind of doing our own thing, staying quiet, trying to stay on our 2 feet.
So who's the responsible one of the group?
Um, I mean Mo's with us, so I guess Mo would be the one responsible one. I feel like me and Mo are probably the most responsible ones. Um, because right now Nate is at the hotel, so Nate's not even here, and Keegan will be at the hotel. So CJ's with us. CJ's like the adult of the group. But I don't know. I feel like Mo would probably be the most responsible one for sure.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Anything else you'd like to add? Anything you'd like to say?
Nope. I'm just excited for tomorrow. Excited to weigh in. Excited to fight again.
All right, awesome. I won't be able to be in Indiana, but I'll be definitely watching on my phone.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just bleh, I'm so tired. I'm sorry.
All good.
I can't wait. Are you gonna be at the NEF ones up in Portland?
Yeah, I'll be at NEF. I'll be
Okay,
at Cage
cool.
Science in May.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, no. So I think I'll definitely be. I mean, I'll definitely be at NEF in Portland. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I'll be fighting there, but I'll definitely see you whenever you come up here. I'll show you the pizza spot for
Of
sure.
course, awesome. All right, thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you.